Hello there, folks. Kirk here with Kirk Giordano Plastering, my son Jason, helping me with this project as usual. What I'm going to show you guys is how the wire that we use for this ceiling. Now you can call it a ceiling, a lid, or a soffit. Those are the terms usually, those three. I get a lot of people, they say, hey gee, what's a lid? What's a soffit? Just a ceiling, guys. When we first got here a couple weeks ago, the fella had holes all over, and he said, what do you think we should do to tie it in? I said, take it all off, man. Take it all off. Let's go to stud, break out enough wire so we can do our tie-in, but he couldn't break out any here because he's on a stud, and then he's in a pocket, so I told him, just leave it alone then. Do the best you can. That's about all you can. Let me show you something. This is a continuous 2-inch vent for plastering or stucco. Now, generally, this vent goes on a ceiling or a soffit like this, but this particular one sticks out further than the stucco, so this fella went with these right here, and we're just going to feather it in. What I really want to show you guys is the actual mesh we use for this, because I get calls on this all the time. And by the way, the contractor said, Kirk, how come there's so much cement all over the pipes? Back when I was working union, we had a Tommy gun, and you spray it. You spray these, and all this mesh here, see, this particular mesh, by the way, this is 3.4 mesh. It doesn't have any dimples. It's not self-furred. It can go this way, or it can go this way, and it'll curve to follow the curve that we want to do. Now, when I was working union, and already I cut myself just carrying this mesh back here. When you're putting that stuff on, wear gloves. It's sharp as razors. When I was working union, they would put this mesh, any other kind of mesh on here, and it would have paper back, so when you shoot it on, it didn't get all over the pipes, although it's not hurting the pipes. I do remember those union days. Fellas used to say, elbows and assholes, that's all I want to hear. I don't want to hear you talking, just keep working. Glad those days are gone. Anyhow, let me show you some of the different soffit meshes, ceiling meshes, lid meshes. Okay, this particular one here is a self-furred. What's that mean? It's 3.4, just like I'm using, but when you have a solid backing. Okay, say this wall here, it's solid. Now it's self-furred right here, meaning if you tack it down, it holds it away from the wall. That way when you mud it, the mud can mushroom over here, and that's how it adheres. Over here, I don't need the self-furred wire, whether or not it's in long rows or spotted. It comes in a lot of different ways where it pushes against a solid ceiling. Right here we have studs, so again, this is not necessary. I brought it out here to describe because I do get a lot of fellows who ask me the difference. And I'll show you one more thing while I'm at it. I don't really need this Rib-Lath. You say, what's Rib-Lath? Rib-Lath is generally, the only time I use Rib-Lath is when we have studs that are 24 inches apart. Say now, these studs right here, 16 inches apart. So I can use this 3.4 mesh on it. But if it was 24 inches apart, what would happen would be this. Okay, I would put my mesh on here, and because we have such large holes, if it were 24 inches, as I put my first coat on it, the first coat would push in, and then after I pull it off, it would bounce back, and all the mud would cover me. And yes, I have had that happen many times, just full of mud at the end of the day, because they used the wrong wire, they used the wire for the walls, you name it, I have seen it. Anyhow, this Rib-Lath here, it has these ribs here which stick out about 3/8 of an inch. It actually goes on where, this way. Say for example, this is Rib-Lath, and the V, there's a V right here. This V channel, it should go on where when we're plastering, this V channel accepts our cement. And then of course it mushrooms through, or if it's on a flat surface, it still allows it to self-fur. Now, you know, about 4 months ago, we did a job, and the guy put it on where he had it backwards. He had it on like this, with these ribs right here, where they were facing this way. Well, just pretend like this is on the ceiling, and he had it where this was showing, and I looked at it, and he said, well, it'll take me days to tear all that stuff off and redo it. Can you do it? I said, man, we can do it, but we're going to get covered in mud, and it's going to take 5 times as long. So what we did is, because your trowel will hit these, if you got your rib on lath wrong, the trowel will hit this, and every trowelful, it'll fall in your face. So guys, if you're going to use Rib-Lath, 24-inch centers, this is great stuff for it. but it's not necessary for this. And you can go vertical or horizontal with this, it doesn't matter. Same with this, you can go vertical or horizontal, doesn't matter. Meaning, I can place this this way, that way, it really doesn't matter. So we're gonna get started, guys, but I thought I'd point out a couple things because it's much easier for me to just copy and paste a video and explain all this stuff to folks when they email me and say, Kirk, what's the difference between the wires? So I thought, man, this is a good opportunity to explain it. Anyhow, we're gonna get started, and like I say, if you're gonna do this stuff, wear gloves. I'm already bleeding in a couple spots with just this area here where it's cut. It's razor sharp. Okay guys, we're getting ready to put this first piece on. I already made my little notch here. I'll show you something that is so important. Okay, once you got it where you want it, say like right here. The most important thing is to make sure this soffit is fastened on extremely tight. And if you're one guy like I usually do this myself, I'm gonna put a couple to hold it just in place right here. Then my other ones are gonna come here, here. And what I don't want is a bunch of pockets, because what happens is, say we got a pocket here, I go to plaster it and it goes up, and when it comes down in our face. And here's the tricky part too, this edge here, because it doesn't have, this is it's called floating an edge. This side right here, I'll show you. Okay, there's not a stud in here, and the fella said, Kirk, should I put a stud on? I thought, no, you don't need a stud, we'll make it work, but we put some staples in here, and this is gonna be soft, so when I do my cement work, when I come to that, I'm gonna have these as issues because there's no studs here. We prefer it where there's a stud everywhere, and of course, on this other vent here, what I tend to do is place my staples where they need to be, and then I'm gonna cut that stud out. Meaning, not stud, I'm sorry, vent. Once I can see what I'm doing, I'll put it right there because I want it to be right on the vent. If there's a ½ inch gap on that vent down there, I'm gonna have a lot of trouble. And yes, I could go the other way too. We can do it both ways, but I do have another sheet and it's gonna go from here, it's gonna overlap this one anyhow, so I chose to do it this way. And if you guys are gonna work on ceilings, man, use some kind of glasses. I've got dark sunglasses and I can hardly see, but when you're stapling, the dust falls right in your face and in your eyes. And even worse than that is I've had a staple hit a clip, like a Simpson strong tie, and come back and hit me in my face. Man, it looked like I got shot, so I always wear glasses. All right guys, I was just getting ready to cut this. I thought I'd show you this part too, because there is a way to do this right and a wrong way. First I fasten this, and I've hung about 5,000 sheets of this stuff in 30 years, so there is a way to do it. You put it on, and then you find out where you want to be. And as you notice, these snips are bent at a certain way. They're not straight, otherwise I'd have a harder time. They're bent at a certain way, which means I'm going to grab this sheet here, bend it down a little bit, and look at that vent right there, and cut it. And again, I don't want to be a ½ inch from this vent, otherwise it'll take me 10 times as long to plaster it. I want to be right on the vent. So what I do is try to cut it a little long, and we pull this piece here. You get the idea. We pull this, and this will cut your hands to the bone, and this is razor sharp, this stuff. That's why I'm wearing these gloves. You pull it, you look up, and you just cut it. Then, after you got it cut where you want it, you bend it right up there and get it on. So I'm going to go ahead and put this next piece on, but I thought I'd show you folks there are proper tools to bend this and cut it with, and these are it. Okay guys, here's another tip. If you can cut this on the bottom, measure everything where you need to be, cut it on the ground rather, because if you're cutting it upside down, stuff's going in your face and your eyes. But if you can pre-measure everything and cut it on the ground, remember these snips are tilted, and then you just pull it up like this. It's easy peasy lemon squeezy. Now I got a factory edge here. This factory edge gives me a lot more strength than this nasty one I cut. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my factory edge for this vent area here, because I'm kind of sorry I didn't tell the guy, give me a couple studs in here, but anyway, that's okay. What we do is we put the factory edge right here, and it gives us more strength right here. So when I'm going to be the fellow plastering this someday after our lath inspection. So this guy right here, this is kind of wiggling up here, so you really got to make your plaster rich. A lot more cement than sand on doing ceilings, otherwise it just keeps coming down. Anyhow, that's my last tip here. We get it done, I'm going to put a corner there and I'll show it to you. Okay guys, I'll show you the ending on this. Now, I got this piece cut, and what I want to do is squeeze it in here. You always want to cut this stuff a little too long rather than a little too short. And I'd rather squeeze it in here than have excess. Okay, see how tight that is? That's pretty tight. Now guys, if you have it loose right here, another tip, you can take a drill with a machine screw and put a hex screw in here. I wished I would have brought my drill, but next time I come to plaster it, I will. Or you can do corner aid and put it here, double it up. Anyhow, I'll show you this last piece. Get my ladder a little closer. And again, it's all about getting it right in there and getting it tight. So this is tight against here. So when I go to plaster this, it's not going to be such a nightmare for me. Anyway, my name is Kirk, Jason on the camera. As usual, folks, we thank you for watching. We'll see you guys on the next one.